Okay, and number 4. This is my second list that I found with questions for atheists. The title of it is Clever Questions Atheists Can't Answer. Okay. Number 20. How can evolution be true if we don't see pocket watches or planes form by themselves? Well, how can God be real if we can engineer life? How can God be real if people are working on making trees glow in the dark? The hell is that the question? Okay. 19. How did pond scum make living things appear out of nowhere? Are you asking how did pond scum become pond scum from particles of different complexities of molecules, or are you asking how bacteria over time evolved tiny variation, tiny mutations, and ended up as fish, and then they ended up as walking things? Okay. Lightning makes the most basic molecular chains. Meteor showers, which were abundant, make more complicated molecular chains. Time and quantity of materials lead to the formation of biological particles of life, living things. It is not that statistically weird. Billions of times a day, molecules interact. A million years, a billion times a day, for every cubic millimeter. Not square millimeter, cubic millimeter. Actually, it's square millimeter if you think about the size of part of molecules. Red blood cells. There's 100 million blood cells per drop of blood. How do you not get this? People have shown it time and time again. How do you not get this? Why is this so difficult for you? Why is this so difficult for you? Okay. 18. If evolution is real, how can it be explained? How can it explain gravity, angular momentum, human emotions, and why we worship God? Gravity and angular momentum are physics. Evolution is a science of chemical interactions, which in part may involve physics, but physics is a different field. Human emotions come from evaluation. If you subdivide every single human sense, you have maybe 50 or 51 senses to every human. We evaluate things. Evaluation is the process by which we coordinate the value of things. We can evaluate emotional connections by evaluating connections. Pattern recognition and stuff. How do you not get this? It was gradually formed over a while. How and why do we worship God? Because it's not survival of the fittest, it's the survival of the most likely. And the most likely mutations have formed into us, and we have limits to our capacity to understand things. We have built up on that capacity to understand things over a while. And stories are things that pass on information and so on and so forth. We've already disproven God. Stop trying to push it on everyone by logicking everything into your default idea. 17. How did the planets form when the Big Bang explosion all of a sudden happened? After all, you don't see round objects, blah, 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 blah. The planets formed from the dust that came from the Big Bang over time, just like the stars did. The Big Bang didn't all of a sudden just happen. The Big Bang happened, and scientists are talking about Planck time as seconds, because time is chronology. How many fractions of a second does it take for one thing to go to another thing, from one place to another place? The speed of light is infinite. What would happen if light was in a certain state? Blah, 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 blah. Time is chronology. Time is relative. If the speed of light slowed down, time would be affected by that speed of light, because our relative interaction with the speed of light changes. 16. Why do people laugh at evolutionists? I am not believing in evolution doesn't make you an evolutionist. Evolutionists, those are terms you invented for your pleasure, your insanity. You are not normal Christian people. You are insane psychotic retards who cannot update to the times. You can look up billions of facts about reality, and all of that knowledge completely dismisses God from the equation because God is not part of reality. God is outside of reality. God is an invention. And you wholeheartedly agree with that invention, and you fanatically try to reason everything around you into something that fits with that invention. 15. Are you aware Ray Comfort disproved atheism with a banana? I am aware that a banana is not made by God. I am aware that people infected the evolutionary process of bananas because selected crops that are better, that yield better taste and better whatever, ended up a certain way. Because we made bananas.